Before we dive in and I introduce Amanda, I want you to know that I'm here to make your life easier. I want you to be able to work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more. And so if I can do that by helping you set up a system, a process, or integrate more automation into your business to take more work off of your plate, then I am all for it. If you are interested in building a product suite or a signature offer, which we're going to talk about today, whether it's a course or a membership site, then I highly, highly recommend using Kajabi to do that. Kajabi is going to give you everything that you need to set it up, to host your programs, to collect payment, and leverage a ton of automation. There's no way that I could scale my businesses to the capacity that they have without something like Kajabi. It's been my go-to platform for both my courses and my membership site and has allowed me to scale to multi-seven figures. So if you want to see behind the scenes where I take you into my Kajabi accounts, I show you what it can do and how I built my seven-figure business, just head over to thekrissychin.com/Kajabi, Kajabi. You're listening to the Badass is the New Black podcast. I'm Krissy Chin, your host, here to teach you how to build an online business that you love and in a way that allows you to work a little bit less so you can enjoy a whole lot more. My hope is that you've showed up to today's episode ready to learn something new and will be inspired to take imperfect action in your business right away. I won't make you wait any longer. Let's dive in. Let's welcome Amanda Kolbye to the podcast. She's an international business coach, an online educator, a full-time world traveler. She's built a near $1 million business in 2 years and has helped hundreds of women around the globe start and scale online business through her signature program, Lifestyle Bootcamp. Amanda's known for her mix of strategy, systems, mindset, and execution to help clients tap into becoming unstoppable. Amanda, welcome. I'm so excited you're here.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I am so excited to be here.
And we are aligned with what we do and how we serve people. So I know this is going to be a fun chat because we're so similar in so many different things like strategy. Yes. Love it. Check. Systems. Check. Mindset. Like you need all of these things to build a business. So we're so aligned on all of it. So I know we're going to have a really good conversation for everyone listening or watching because we're on YouTube.
Yes.
So awesome. So let's just briefly, you didn't, start your working career doing this. It's, 2018 is when you got started. So what were you doing before?
Yeah. So I, kind of graduated university, had no clue what I was going to do and got a random job in IT sales, which was, nothing that had to do with my degree, but it was actually not a bad job. And I always like to highlight that because I feel like everyone's like, oh, you have to be like miserable in your 9 to 5 and hate your life. And, that wasn't the case. It was one of those like work hard, play hard companies, which at the end of the day, not about, but basically I was in that. And I kind of had this revelation. I got promoted really quickly in my corporate job. I was making, well over 6 figures by the age of 24. I saw kind of the top and that was when it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the quote unquote American dream, like that people work their lives for, and I was like, this can't be it. This is not it. So I kind of had a very different path, I think, than most entrepreneurs because I didn't even know what business I wanted to start. All I knew is that I always tell people I knew 2 things. I wanted to work for myself and I wanted to live abroad. To me, that was really important. Mm-hmm. So I quit my job. I moved to Thailand, sold everything I owned. I had no business at the time, but I just needed time to figure it out. So that's essentially what I did. I ended up starting a design business. I taught myself via YouTube, ran that for a little bit. And that's actually how I ended up getting into coaching and starting my coaching business in 2019.
I love that. I love the evolution of it. I'm curious when you said you saw the top and you were like, this is not it. What was it specifically about that was not feeling aligned with you? Because you were making good money. But was it the lifestyle, the schedule, was there something specific or what was it?
Yeah, I think part of it was the, was the schedule for sure. It was one of those companies where, while it was a 9 to 5, we were expected to show up at 7:30 and, stay till maybe 7. It was like, I couldn't even go to a doctor's appointment without them being like, you have to sit at your desk until 5 or like make that time up. And I realized, because we made commission in that job, that if I worked harder, I started to make more money, but I didn't have more autonomy over anything. And I was like, if I can do this work in half the time and make more money than everyone else, in the office doing my job, why do I still just have to sit at my desk until 5 p.m.? Like, it just didn't make sense. And the only way to scale up was into management. And it didn't look any better to me. Like, basically you were still just stuck in this office Monday through Friday. And I think we had like 8 PTO days. And I was always just, even during the first year of working there, I somehow convinced my boss to go on like 5 different vacations. Oh, and that was what was important to me.
I love that. I love that. So interesting. I mean, I think a lot of people can resonate with that. Like, that's why I, got out of nursing. I wanted a lot more money. You were making a lot more money than I was in my nursing job, but I wanted the freedom and flexibility. I was having FOMO, missing out on, hanging out with friends or going on trips last minute with Michael, or, by the time I left, I had a kid. So it was like, family time now. So I think a lot of people can resonate with that. Like, you could be making a lot of money, but if you're not really living the joyful life that you kind of dream about or want to be, then you're willing to give it all up and like try something else. So, I mean, so much courage for you to just kind of leave that job that was financially, providing for you, and just be like, no, I'm going to do something else. Thailand. Yeah. How did you pick Thailand?
So long story short, I did an internship in Thailand, my junior year of university. I literally Googled like cheapest place to get an internship abroad and found it. And that's where I met my significant other. And so it was just kind of a place for us. It was special. It was very affordable too, right? Because we didn't have jobs. We were like kind of figuring it out. And so we just kind of landed on Thailand. You can live pretty cheaply, and it's a digital nomad hub. And we knew we wanted to live abroad anyway. So it was just a good starting point.
Cool. Love it. And then design. So that was like web design. Like, what kind of design did you teach yourself, and were you doing?
Yeah. So it was web design and branding. And I started doing like travel blogs. I kind of got into the travel blog community. That was one of our many ventures that we thought was going to be a thing. And that's kind of how I got into it. I started building one on WordPress, and then I just discovered Show It, which I'm like obsessed with. And it was so much easier to create websites. So it's actually still something I do to procrastinate in my free time now.
I love it. I love it. Well, I wanted to pull out those pieces of the story because it just kind of like highlight some of your strengths, like having the courage to leave something that was, cushy and comfortable and providing, but wasn't what you really wanted. And so you had that courage to leave. And then this journey of, not getting a job after, you call it university, which I love. It's amazing. College, not getting a job in, what you went to school for, and then leaving and starting design work, and then it evolving into coaching, again, similar to my story and path where, left a good, steady, stable job, got into network marketing, but then launched Grow Workspace. And then that evolved into coaching. So I kind of love to highlight that it's not just me. Like, it's like that happens to everyone, where you can start in one thing, you can start your business in one area, and then it can evolve into something else because you want it to evolve into that, or people, just start asking you questions about it, and it just sort of like makes the way, but you were open.
Right. And I like that you highlight that, because I talk with so many people about this all the time, is like, stop trying to figure it all out. Like, I truly don't think I would have been in the position to start my coaching business and almost like all the little milestones that ended up happening had I not gone down the path I did. I didn't necessarily have this orchestrated plan to become a coach, but it was because I kind of put myself out there. I started meeting people in Bali and Thailand and like all these places I was living. I got into the entrepreneurship world, and that's actually how I got into coaching and how I got my first clients. The other very like minor detail that I want to highlight from this that I don't always talk about is when I quit my corporate job, I actually taught English online for a couple months, which was like so not my forte, bless teachers. But I did it to make a little bit of money on the side. I could work, 10 hours a week and whatnot. And what's interesting about that is when I got into coaching, I actually marketed my first program that I know we're going to kind of like talk about as well, like creating like a signature program, but I marketed it specifically at English teachers who had moved abroad to teach English, but all they really wanted was to live abroad. They just didn't know any other way to sustain that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And all of my first clients were also from that part of my past that like, of course I didn't orchestrate that. So really, like you're saying, like being open to using these different pieces and just moving forward blindly, like you're not always going to see the path in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you taught yourself the design stuff, and so that launched that business. Grow Workspace was my knowledge in network marketing and teaching other people, how to build their network marketing business. So it's like, we took what we had in our head or what we were willing to learn about to like launch that first step in our business. And so I love that you were like, just take that first little step and then like you can build upon that. So
exactly.
So awesome. Yeah. We're going to dive into talk more about the product suite or, creating a signature offer and becoming known for that offer. So I know that's, something that we're both big on. You have, a signature thing. I'm like developing my signature thing. So I'm even excited to like get some tips and thoughts as I'm developing in the process. So let's talk about a product suite. Some people may not even know, what that means. So, what is a product suite to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you are a service provider, and maybe even have products too, really, but you want to be able to serve your ideal clients in a dynamic way. And ideally, I guess the most simple way I can approach like a product suite is if we have one offer, there are certain types of offers that maybe are something that you can consume more than once, right? But we're looking at like the lifetime value of your customers, because acquiring a customer once is way more expensive than having a repeat customer, right? So when you're building a product suite, one part of it is a lot of people have multiple ways that they want to be able to serve people, especially as a service provider. The other part of it though is essentially creating a customer journey that someone is able to stay within your world for a while. And so as your ideal client grows, typically you can build a product suite through stages. Sometimes you can build it almost via, if you're like looking visually, different columns of different ways that you serve people. Like for example, maybe if you're a designer, like web design could have multiple offers within it, and branding or brand strategy coaching. Like that could be two different almost like pillars that you can actually create product suites for each pillar. But I would say the key word here is customer journey. You want to get repeat customers and have them be able to evolve with you and purchase from you again.
Yeah, I wrote down journey before you had said it. So I just like, we have to come back to that. But I love that you have said this word journey, thinking about where that person is when you bring them in and how they're evolving. And if you're just getting started in your business, likely you're teaching or talking or helping someone who is like 3 or 5 steps behind you, right? Mm-hmm. Like you don't have to be like the world's expert in the thing, but if you're a few steps ahead of someone, you know more than they know. And so you can teach them that. And then as they master that, you've learned to master something else. And then you teach that next thing, and then they're on for the ride, and then the next thing and the next thing. So I love thinking about it in this journey. In my network marketing, business, learning about residual income, where someone comes in, they buy a product and then they replenish that product or they buy more products. That's how you build a lot of income with a membership site. So with Grow Workspace, they're paying every single month. So
right.
you're finding new clients, then they're continuing to pay. It's compounding. But what happens when you have a course or like a one-off thing? Like you said, you don't want to have to find new customer. You want to have other things that they can purchase and buy. And so that definitely is the idea of having that suite.
Right. And one other thing I want to highlight, I think there's a bunch of things for us to highlight here, but another purpose of this is trust. So we've probably all heard, that in order to, acquire a customer, they have to know, like, and trust you. And so we can build that those know, like, and trust factors through a lot of different ways, through our content, marketing, building relationships, et cetera. But this is also how your offer suite can serve you is, let's say you're a coach, right? And you have a high level one-on-one coaching offer. It's probably pretty pricey, right? It's probably your highest ticket item. Well, everyone might not be ready for that type of investment. There's a difference between, holding the space for money objections versus like, this genuinely is not right for that person at that time. But maybe someone still wants to be in your world. They still want a taste of you, or maybe they want that higher ticket offer, but they just found you a couple of days ago. So if we have a lower tier offer, let's say in the price range of, $100, $200, something like that, someone is able to make a purchasing decision a lot faster and without a lot less, or with less trust in you based on that price point. And so you can have lower tier offers that serve that. And they're essentially, without being a part of a funnel, acting as a tripwire, where someone is making a smaller purchase, gaining some trust in you, and now they're way more likely to purchase from you again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Thinking about, having all of these things. Actually, before I get into that, I want to go back to, you were talking about like, if you have a high ticket thing, right? And then having lower tiered things. So I think that's actually where a lot of people get introduced. So I'm like waving my pencil around here. My magic wand.
I'm visual too. I'm with my hands. So
I like, when you're saying something, I have to write little notes down or I will totally forget by squirrel brain.
I do the same.
Now where was I? No. Okay. So with your signature offer, so I think a lot of people here, they have something that they're doing, they're teaching, they have this knowledge and like one-on-one. So you were mentioning that someone maybe couldn't, put that financial investment towards that higher ticket offer, but also maybe you can't take on any more people. Like your schedule is maxed out. Like it's high ticket because it's trading time for money. It's very intensive. Like when you were building websites or, design and helping with that, if you're doing one-on-one, like it's time consuming, right? So you only have so many hours in a day. And if you're like us and you want to enjoy a lot of things in life, you're not going to be working 80 hours a week. So that's another reason why, some of you are listening out there, is because you want to take what you do maybe one-on-one and you want to turn it into this digital course, this digital product, this, a workshop, whatever. I've talked about that in a previous episode. What kind of digital thing you could turn it into. But so allowing you to serve more people, right? And then that added benefit that you can have people jump in with you at a lower price point and then build more trust. So I love that. Let's talk about a signature product, and then maybe we can work backwards from that. Okay. So what is the importance of a signature product? Or what is it really?
Yeah. So, I think this can look a little bit different for different people as far as what it is. But I would say, here's the thing is you've heard the phrase, if you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one, when people talk about marketing and finding a niche or ideal client. And it's kind of the same concept with a signature offer, in that you want to build brand associations with people, right? Like you want someone to think, oh my gosh, digital nomad or laptop lifestyle, like starting a business, like what comes to mind? What's that gut reaction? Like no conscious thinking there. Like I want to build, for me, I'll use this example. Like that's one brand association. I want to like be spread throughout the interwebs of like laptop lifestyle, starting a business, Amanda Kolbye Laptop Lifestyle Bootcamp. Right. And so when you're able to, like, this is our whole goal with marketing, right? Like in a crowded space in social media, is to be top of mind, to get people's attention. Like people's attention is the most valuable thing I think that you can have, because once you have it, you can help them see different perspectives. You can point them in the right direction. You can share your own insights that hopefully are going to incite action from them to purchase from you. But if we can't capture their attention, and if we can't make them remember us, there is a million other things that are going to be flooded into their consciousness, their zone, on social media. And so I really think this is partly what explains like the importance of a signature offer, is you are becoming known for something, right? Like you are kind of putting a lot of eggs into one basket, and it feels scary. It might feel a little bit risky, but also you're going to start to become known for that thing. People are going to right away be like, oh, I'm not, let's say I have 5 different offers and none of them are really that well known. You're like, oh, Amanda Kolbye, what does she offer again? I think she's a coach, but like there's nothing that stands out that's really, really unique that people are talking about, that people are getting the word about out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does your signature offer have to be like your high ticket?
No. I don't think so. In fact, I would say no, absolutely not. My signature offer actually is not my highest ticket offer. And I know quite a few other entrepreneurs who have one or two signature offers that they're really well known for. And they're even like low level courses. But again, one of the benefits, and this takes time, right? But one of the benefits as you start to become known for something is you can double down on marketing strategies, on lead gen, like just for that, right? And so it starts to then ideally become a volume game. You have to build a scalable offer too. That's part of it. Mm-hmm. But for us, we double down on a lot of marketing for a signature offer. We've been able to scale it evergreen. And so you're able to take on more clients for that. And thus you can still be extremely profitable with a lower level offer.
Mm-hmm. So your signature product is really just like what you're known for.
Exactly.
And then your product suite. So building that journey, how does that tie into the signature offer then, would you say?
So it really, like your product suite and the way you build a product suite, I would say doesn't really change. Your signature offer is just going to be one of those offers. Mm-hmm. For us, our signature offer is our entry level offer. That doesn't mean it's the cheapest offer, but when you look at my product suite from a stage perspective, like stages of entrepreneurs, it's an entry level type program. Mm-hmm. And I like having it that way, although it wasn't necessarily intentional, because it's almost like, it's not necessarily the top of a funnel, but it's getting the most of our attention and energy. We're funneling people in there. And so then what has now happened as my business has evolved is we don't even have to market as much for the higher level offers because everyone's coming in through this entry level yet signature offer. So my higher level masterminds and one-on-one coaching and things like that, people start to evolve up into, but I have the mass amount of people in that entry level offer. Yeah. Now it doesn't have to be that way, but that's how ours is, for an example.
And was that the first product that you created?
It actually was, yes. And one thing that you said earlier too, about taking your, let's say, one-on-one or done for you service and turning it into more of a, be able to serve the masses. It was the reason this program for me came about was I was walking through the same stuff again and again with all my one-on-one clients. And I had gotten on 5 discovery calls in 1 week with all these people that wanted to sign up for one-on-one coaching. And they were like, I truly just can't afford it. I can't afford it. And I was like, okay, well, why don't I just walk through all the same material with multiple people at once? Hence a group program. And so that was really where mine kind of evolved from.
Yeah, I love that. Now mine will not be that same story. And so that's those out listening to this, I want you to be aware, it doesn't always, your signature product doesn't always have to be that very first thing that you create. Although I think that's a smart way to do it. Right away, you took what you were doing with people, one-on-one, and then you made it into a way that you could scale it and reach a lot more people. Whereas again, where Grow Workspace is take what I'm doing, relevant to now, what's in my head, put it into a digital space to be able to teach people and provide for people in that business. And then the Krissy Chin coaching was okay, where am I seeing my audience lacking right now that I have gained knowledge and skill in? And that was building the foundation of your business and your brand. So that was my Build a Blissful Business course, which is all about the foundational pieces of identifying your ideal client and their problems, and, even more about your brand and your messaging and, how you want to show up and the colors and the style, what's your brand personality. So all of those foundational pieces that you want to get started, my audience knew nothing about. Right. So that was it was the next step of okay, these people don't realize how important this is. So I'm going to create this course, Build a Blissful Business, to serve them and teach them this. But that's not really over time, I've realized that that's not really what I want to be known for. Or now what my people are coming to me for now is, Krissy, I want to create a course. I want to start a membership. You've done that successfully. So how do I do it? And I've been avoiding it. You guys, I am totally, if this is you, I want you to tell me in the comments on YouTube or send me a DM if you're listening to the podcast. I have been hesitant to create a signature, course or whatever on helping people create courses and membership, because I can think of, two handfuls of very famous, famous in our industry, people who are doing the same thing. It's like Amy Porterfield, Stu McLaren, like all of these people. And I'm like, well, they can just go to them. Right. But it's like, but I'm like not practicing what I preach, where I'm like, there's room at the table. Like there's a personality out there for you and how you teach it in your style and your specific process. Because while there could be some similar principles, you do it differently. And so I'm like having to like, I don't know what the term is, but like, listen
work
to my
through it.
Like, Krissy, like, what are you doing? And so I'm finally leaning into like, all right, all these people are asking me, that's what I do with my one-on-one coaching. It's someone who has been successful in what they're doing, their industry, they're doing one-on-one work. And they're like, Krissy, I need to make this scalable. I need to serve more people so I can work less time, enjoy more of my life, like help me put it into a course or a membership site. And that's what I do one-on-one. And so now my next step is like, all right, let's create this course, an ongoing membership to help support people in that. So that will be my signature offer, so I think now, I guess it could change in the future and there could be something else, but it will evolve over time. So sometimes it's not always what you think, but like for you, it kind of worked out to be like your first thing.
Right. Well, and yeah, it's almost the same of like starting your business. Like you don't always plan all of these things, and some offers are going to land more than others. And I'm not just saying even with your audience, but with you. Like I've had some offers I've created that, of course I love them in the moment, but I've actually gotten rid of them because they were no longer aligned with me or my audience, because whether you plan to or not, you will evolve. And I also want to echo what you said about like, you're like, oh, there's a million other people that create like, courses of how to create courses. I went through the same thing because Laptop Lifestyle Bootcamp for me, which is my signature program, it is a how to build 6-figure foundation. So it's everything from A to Z that you need to start an online business. And I was sitting there like, y'all, there is a million coaches and courses out there to help you start one. But I also then shifted to say, well, no, like I have something unique that I want to offer. I have an angle and a certain audience that I want to appeal to. I have a community I want to build. So I even expanded mine too outside of just a course, because part of my vision with it and part of how I decided after that imposter syndrome, I was going to stand out was with the community, the global community that I've built that's attached to my signature offer as well. So basically all that to say, don't be intimidated just because someone else had, like every offer under the sun has probably been created in a manner, but you're what's going to make it, unique.
Right. And looking at, what about your process is a little bit different? What is it that you have found really works for you that maybe someone else teaches in a different way that didn't work for you? Because guarantee there's other people out there like you. Again, I attract like the squirrel brain, people that don't need things to be perfect, right? They totally like feed off of like my inability to be perfect. I had a private client and I was trying to give her access to this Google Drive document and I screwed it up like 3 times, like typed her email in wrong. Then I was like, shoot, I typed Gmail, not Yahoo. And then when she was like, okay, now I got it, but I don't have access. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, where is my assistant? And she's like, no, this is exactly like how I need it to be, because I need you to show me that like, it doesn't have to be perfect, button up, tied with a bow, because that's not who I am. So, I'm attracting a totally different kind of personality and person that like needs to see how I work and flow and like get ideas and tips and kind of move through their process.
I love that.
There is someone out there there are lots of people out there for you that want what you have to offer and the way that you have to offer that they can't get from, those 5 other big names that you are feeling like you are inferior to. Like you are not. Everyone starts at the beginning, right? Like you can't, and I'm sure you've done this, I've done this, like you can't compare your beginning to someone else's middle, right?
Absolutely
like it's not fair, not fair at all. Any other, thoughts or tips that you want to give on someone that's kind of creating, deciding like maybe how to decide what your signature product is, or like first steps of taking action in that?
Yeah. So I think honestly, my first tip is start creating things, right? Like don't try and overthink it. Because there are some people absolutely that are going to say, this is what I want to be known for. This is what I want to create, and like bam, and go do it. But the majority of us, it's a process, right? And the more action that you're taking, the more you're putting yourself out there, the more data you're going to get from your audience of like what they want and what they like and what works. The more you're going to start to learn and feel like what is going to work for you. So definitely don't overthink it, but like keep putting yourself out there, keep creating things, keep taking action. The other thing is, when you do have something, a program that you love, a course, whatever it is, be really, really intentional about making that your thing. So creating the course itself, that's one thing. We can totally give some tips and tricks on that. But then having a signature offer and making it a signature offer is another thing. And it's a lot of marketing. It's a lot of intentionality. So I'll give you a couple examples for this. When I was talking earlier about brand associations, right? I was very, very intentional about wanting to become known for this program. After the first time I ran it, I was like, yes, I'm in love with this. This is what people need. This is building so much momentum. Like I want this to be big. So one very small example that I do is at least twice per week, I mention Laptop Lifestyle Bootcamp on my Instagram stories. Almost every email that goes out has either PS'd at the bottom, or it's like subtly mentioned on the side here. Every single week, I have some like screenshots of wins coming out from my Laptop Lifestyle Bootcamp, program. Even if I'm not selling it or mentioning it that week, I'm always mentioning it. And so the word, starts to grow, and people have recognized it. They're like, oh, right, I've subconsciously seen that like 7 times now. Again, I also, how you talk about yourself, like you set the tone. That's important to remember with you building a brand in general. But again, becoming known for something is, it doesn't typically just happen, right? You have to be intentional about saying like, hey, like, this is my signature program. This is what I'm all about. Like, I love this program. Like, we are working on this week. When I talk about myself, when I introduce myself, I typically will mention something about that program or the topic of that program as far as something that I'm known for, right? When I do podcast interviews, when I do IG lives, what am I talking about? What am I mentioning? My signature program, the brand associations attached to that I want to be known for, right? So it's all of these little micro pieces that you're kind of like putting out into the universe that are all going to compound to come back to people really starting the word getting out, right? And people really starting to associate that offer with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I just went back and looked at the bio, and right there, through her signature program, Laptop Lifestyle Bootcamp. So like right there, it was in her bio, like you're feeding the words to me to then put back out there that this is you, this is yours. And, you guys need to hear about it so that again, so they've heard it now, they'll see it maybe in the show notes. Then if they end up, grabbing your freebie, which you guys should, then they'll see it in all of the things. So I love that tip of like just sprinkling it in basically everywhere. So it's not annoying, but it's like very intentional and strategic. There's that strategy, right? In there to get it out there. Cause like you have to do the work to make yourself known for it.
Right. And I really think the other most powerful thing about, again, this is really anything, but again, especially when you want a signature offer to be signature, is the client experience is huge. Anytime I talk to anyone about creating a course or a program, that's typically the first thing I talk about, because that makes everything. That is what makes and breaks one course from another. To be honest, there's only X amount of information out there about like starting a business. There are certain things that we are all teaching, but the client experience, the experience that I embody, the community that I've created, that's what people leave with. That's what people remember. That's why they keep coming back. And so another part of this is word of mouth. Like it is the most basic, like, back to the beginning of time way of getting words out in marketing. But it was something that I started to notice is that everyone that left that first round of my program, they were like high on life from it. They were loving it. They wanted to tell other people about it. And so I also started to try and encourage that and utilize like all of my other students to get the word out. And eventually we, made a formal affiliate program with it as well. But even before that was, the case, I really encouraged people to share on their stories. I created little gifts and stickers, and I set the tone. Like every single time I posted on my stories about the program, it had the hashtag laptop lifestyle bootcamp, and everyone followed suit without me even asking. I had the gifts and I just keep posting them. Everyone followed suit without me asking. So you have a lot more power than you think, but it takes consistency and intentionality.
Mm-hmm. I love that. It sounds like I need to go make some little gifts.
They're really fun. Yeah. I don't know how to say it either.
I have taken a little course on how to create them, but then it was like you've created them to where you can search for them and find them on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right? So I have some, it's not like the Canva gift where that's the image or whatever. So I think when in the little training, they said you had to have 5 of them, like right off of the bat to get approved, be searchable. Right. Yeah. To be approved. And I'm like, well, I have 3 and now my time is out. So now it's sitting there with 3 made, but I can't search them. So we'll have to figure out the whole gift thing, but I love that. And that's, shareable content, right? Like people talk about shareable content. And so even just a little gift that someone can put on their story, like they're sharing your brand with someone, and you sharing wins of other people. So those are some great tips. So if you guys aren't already doing that or going to launch something, keep all of these things in mind to really get the word out. And it's an ongoing process. You can't just create it, do a launch, and then expect it to be rainbows and unicorns. People are just flooding in all of the time. It takes work to continue to market it, to continue to promote it. And so I like those little tips that you've given, in the PS of the email, or just using little hashtags or sprinkling it in once or twice a week, even if it's not heavy promotion mode of that.
Yeah.
So many little nuggets.
One last thing that just came to mind here is really think of your offer as its own brand. So I do this for all of my offers where they quite literally have their own logo, their own vibe, their own brand. Now they all fit underneath my brand, right? They're still very aligned with me, but they're also unique. And I treat them that way as their own, brand. Basically, that's the word of what it is. But with a signature offer, you can almost take it a step further. And you definitely don't have to do this. I feel like it's not your signature one, but you have a separate brand outside of just Krissy Chin coaching too. But so for us, now that Laptop Lifestyle Bootcamp has evolved for us and has grown to the point that it has, we now are starting to expand that and have it be its own Instagram. We might be actually having its own website for it. We're having students contribute to it and be featured on it, and a bunch of really cool stuff where we're really taking it to the next level that it's kind of its own business. So that's definitely not something you have to do, but just kind of want to plant that in y'all's heads to, at least in your mind, think of it as its own brand to be known on its own.
Yeah, I like that. So with Build a Blissful Business, I didn't have, I had, specific text that I used, but there wasn't a logo. Whereas the Scalable Podcast System, that new mini course that I have, it really has more of a logo with it. And it's almost more exciting, for me to share, because it's it does, it's its own thing, and it could stand alone, but it draws in a very specific kind of person. So I like that tip and that idea of even each little piece that you have, it's all going to be tied to you and fit into your brand because it's a part of the journey, but being able to have it, be its own little universe as well can be really powerful. So I like that tip, but doesn't mean you have to get started with some fancy logo on your course. I mean, I certainly didn't, but if you can, it's just one more little thing that you can do to, make more people aware of it. And visually, oh, when I hear that, oh, I can see that logo or what that is. And
cool. Absolutely.
Love it. So many good golden nuggets here. We'll wrap it up because I think that was a ton of great information that people can kind of start thinking about and pondering about, like with whatever they're creating, or maybe they have created something and maybe they haven't been so aligned with it yet. I would love it if you guys on YouTube, sharing in the comments of, what your signature product is, or maybe what you envision that it is, and share that with us. So we can catch that vision with you. Let's share. You've got a free gift for us. So if you guys, you should definitely continue to connect with Amanda after this, get on her email list so you can also be paying attention to how she's marketing. That's why I love getting on people's lists. I'm like,
same.
Sometimes I don't like, the intention, I need to create folders of like, all right, I just want to go back and I want to go like study what they're doing,
exactly.
how they're marketing and like how because everyone does it different, and, you can get inspiration in different ways. But I know you put out such amazing, great content. So tell them about the Laptop Lifestyle Blueprint that you're offering.
Yeah. So if you guys are kind of in those beginning stages, I do have a freebie that's a 30-day guide. So it's the blueprint. And it's this 30-day guide that will give you an action step every day for like really getting your business off of the ground. And if you are curious, like Krissy was saying, you'll end up in a funnel, and you can kind of see how we start to market LLB. It'll be fun. I love doing that as well. And if you're not in those beginning stages as well, really no matter what stage of business you're at, honestly, come and follow me on Instagram. It's just at Amanda Kolbye. I'm there every day. Got lots of little juicy nuggets on Instagram stories. I also actually have a podcast as well, Laptop Lifestyle Podcast. And I also have a YouTube channel, which is just under my name, Amanda Kolbye. So lots of different places to come and get, business trainings and kind of see how we market it. In almost every single YouTube video, I mention Laptop Lifestyle Bootcamp also. So you'll get to see all this stuff in action.
Love it. I love it. That's so awesome. And you guys, all of this will be in the show notes. So if you are watching on YouTube, you can hop over to the website, thekrissychin.com/blog. It's actually blog, or just click on podcast and you can see the show notes from this episode. Any big things coming up that you want to make sure people are aware of so they can get on your list and be in the know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you've heard us kind of dissect Laptop Lifestyle Bootcamp today in the form of giving you an example of a signature offer, but I actually am enrolling for new cohorts of Laptop Lifestyle Bootcamp. So you can check my website, amandakolbye.com /laptop-lifestyle-bootcamp. And you can see whenever the next cohort is. And this is really for those first year entrepreneurs who you maybe have been making a little money here and there, a couple of clients, but you haven't actually set up your business like a business. And so we really focus on setting up those six-figure foundations, everything you need to know from A to Z. And it's a live group coaching program as well. So our global community is also a really big part of it, and the network that you'll get to be a part of for life. So it's a really great place to be. It's obviously what I'm known for, what I love. And I would love to answer any questions if you're interested.
Awesome. You guys go connect with Amanda. She's amazing. And thank you for listening today. If you're, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, make sure you subscribe to get notified of the next episode next week. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button again so you can be notified. Maybe you're watching us over there. Can't wait to connect with you guys and continue to just make those imperfect actions every single day to take that next step in your business. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Until next time, remember, done is better than perfect, my friend, and to channel your inner badass and take imperfect action every single day.